We did it. We finally made some paper. This is the bit, I mean, you've heard both Adrian and I talk about elements of this project which have just been quite challenging at times, but this is the bit that was the real wild card. This is the bit that really was out on a limb, as in nobody's ever done this kind of thing before, and we had no path to follow to get to this. I mean, you make an album, you make packaging, you choose from the different types of packaging you want to make, and it falls into a slipstream of that process of packaging. Like the case bounds I've shown you before. They are a standard format of packaging, and everybody knows what happens with those. It falls into a slipstream of work, and as much as we've got our whole process with the deluxe box set is complicated by the sheer volume of those and the other elements that are going together with it. Each item on its own is actually, most of them are pieces that have been printed before, and therefore there is a process to doing it. The complexities that we've both talked about come into play when you actually put them all into one thing and have them being produced in different places and all coming together. This, however, we had no path. We had to, 2 years ago, there was conversations with Immi where she wanted to try and find a way that she could actually include elements of the recording process in the box set itself, and we went through a number of different options, and we eventually settled on this idea that we would break them to pieces and we'd put them into something, and we went through a number of ideas with that, and we ended up with this idea that we'd actually put it into paper pulp and make some paper out of it. But that's fine as a creative idea, but then you've got to work out how to smash all this stuff up, and who's going to be mad enough to produce something like this on our behalf. But we've been very lucky. We've had Blendtec blenders, which are just insane at smashing things to pieces. And the guys at Frogmore Mill have been incredibly accommodating in trying this for us, and they've done a fantastic job. This is paper made out of bits of the recording process. And to prove it here, you can see here there's a bit of the newspaper from China, from when Immi was in China recording Shishi Knows. And here's a piece of one of the dresses that was in the Propeller Seeds video. Crikey, we've got bits of stick in there. You can see if I hold it up to the light there, you can see that there's a three-dimensionality to this paper which you just don't get with any other kind of paper. I'm trying to catch the light on it there so you can see it, but every ticket, everyone who gets one of these box sets is going to have a ticket inside the front of the book, and when you open it up and look at it, you'll be able to pull that ticket out and you will be able to see bits and bobs of this recording process. And have a look at the video that's just about to follow. It's not very well shot, unfortunately. It's me shooting, it's Immi shooting, and me editing a few bits together to try and give you an idea of what we were doing. But it's everything's there. It's the pulling together of all the bits that we've blended, mixing it all up, what happens to that, how we get it into the pulp, actually making the paper, and Immi rolled her sleeves up and started making some paper for this. The bulk of the work has been done by Jim and Sarah at the plant in Frogmore Mill, but Immi and myself, we both tried our hand at making a bit of paper, and as I say, I've cobbled together this bit of video. It's not brilliant. It's not up to the standards of the wonderful makings of and so on that are going to be on the discs that you'll be getting, but it gives you an idea of what we did today, and it was just immense. As a designer, I'm sure I've said it before in one of the blogs, as a designer, it's a fantastic process to go through, because if I specify anything for print, I choose paper off of a swatch. You have a swatch of papers, a bit like a Pantone swatch, a bit like one of these, and you say, okay, I want that paper. But this is completely new. This is thinking this should work. There's no reason why this shouldn't work, but until we actually did it today, until we actually saw it in practice, we didn't know. So immense relief and immense excitement at seeing the next stages of this. We've got to print on it, we've got to chop it up, and we've got to get it into the book, and and this then becomes something that's part of the whole package. So still lots of exciting stages to go, but today really for me has been an absolute pinnacle of everything that we've been working for the last 2 years, because so many parts can be quantified in what you need to do. This was the wild card. So enjoy the poorly put together video, and until next time. I'm going to narrate over this because it's very difficult to hear a lot that's going on at the plant. It was so noisy with a big paper making machine going in the background. But you join Immi putting together some of the blended items into a big pot, all mixed up together so that we could put it into the pulp. The bicycle reflector kind of broke down into like little crystals, like big salt particles.
Lifeline slinky. One of my favourite bits.
The slinky you can see throughout the paper. There's small bits of this yellow plastic.
Neglected space brick from the garden.
One of the pieces that gave actually the most resistance in the blender, I thought that was going to break up quite easily, but it did actually put up a bit of a fight.
Runtime headphones.
Their headphones were just mashed to pieces. There's absolutely nothing recognisable about those at all.
Telecommunications mobile phone. Oh, that's a good one.
That's great. The telephone was one of my favourite bits. All the different colours and textures that came out. Bits of copper. The jogging shoes are actually visible throughout the paper. This pink, hairy stuff is on quite a lot of the sheets, and it's very, very noticeable. It's a very bright colour and very prominent.
The walking socks.
So now it's my turn to add a few bits of stuff to the blends.
It's still a sock. The gardening gloves. Made short work of these, didn't it?
You can see the kind of fibrous stuff that's going to be visible in the paper when you see it.
Immi's bra. Not quite going to do anything, is it now?
Again, you can see the small bits of red fibre in the piece of paper I have here.
Lovely, isn't it? We got anything more? The water bottle. This has got a load of carbon and stuff in there, the stuff that takes all the impurities out of the water, I guess, is it?
Yeah.
Beginning to feel a bit like a cooking recipe at this point.
Bicycle pump. Not much of that left.
I don't think that much of it's blending.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Put up a bit of a struggle, that one.
Immi's right. I thought the brick put up a fight, but actually the bicycle pump probably
Take
put up
the cello
the
bow.
biggest one. Now it's Immi's turn to put some more stuff back in again.
Cowbells from India. Twigs to make the tree sound, bee growing and propeller seeds.
By this point you can see it's quite a concoction.
Vampire teeth.
The teeth were obviously a very small piece in the first place, so there's very few pieces there that go in. So you'd be lucky to get one of those pieces in your piece of paper, but
Found on the bed of the River Thames at midnight at low tide.
but just like the pottery, there's very little of that as well. But they both came out like a grit.
Necklace that I wore in the Minds of Art Fair video. Spider's legs.
At this point we have all of the stuff that's going to be used in it all blended up, and Immi's just sort of mixing it all together so that we've got an even blend of stuff to go in.
Now we're going to put it into another blender. We're now going to put it into another blender and get it so that it's mixed up a bit. I'm sure that's not very good for you.
The idea here is all of this then goes into water. It's mixed up with some water, and then it's put into the blender you can see on the side here, so that it's again mixed up a bit more, reduced a little bit.
So now all the bits go into another blender, so that they're broken down a little bit more, so that they can go into the paper well.
Hey, I'm already ahead of myself. Sarah here is the girl who's made a lot of the paper, or the rest of the paper, the one who's actually the professional here making the paper. We were just there for this morning, trying our hand, and I think we did all right.
I'd love to give you a better idea of what they're talking about, but I can't even hear it.
So here you can see it's been mixed up with some water. Hopefully Immi will remember to put the lid on so it doesn't go all up the up. That's good.
We have to ask the question again, will it blend?
I think the stuff's getting used to seeing a blender by now. And over here is the vat with all of the pulp. And there it goes. All of the blended stuff into a vat of pulp.
How much do you put? How many bits do you put in per kind of?
Every 4 sheets, I put in a bucket of the same pulp.
Every 4 sheets?
Yeah, and like a slug of that.
So now we've mixed it all up, and Sarah's going to show Immi how to actually pull a piece of paper out of this vat of pulp. The idea is you put it under the pulp and then pull it up quite quickly so you don't get suction. It pulls it under. And this is the paper maker shake. You shake it a couple of times in one direction and then you shake it a couple of times in the other direction, and it bonds all of the fibres together. This machine is actually sucking out a load of the water, but you can see all of the bits in the paper here.
What's that?
That is a mountain.
A mountain. Excellent. So what have we got in here?
We've definitely got the wires. Was that from your headphones?
That's from the gloves.
Oh, gloves.
Gloves.
You've got some sheet music stuff in there.
Yeah, got some trainers.
Yeah.
Bit of my necklace. Maybe
The neon yellow was
a slinky. That's a big bit of wire there.
Yeah.
Some dress.
You've got some newspaper here.
Oh yeah, little Chinese symbol there.
Unfortunately, my
Bits of
focus
twig.
was terrible at this point.
Yeah.
And wood and stuff.
The sheet music there, is that?
Yeah.
That looks like an E.
An E. Okay, excellent.
Well, if it was the treble clef and the lower stave, that would be an E.
And then take out.
So the frame comes off, leaving the paper on there, and it's still sucking water out from under the moment. You can see from the close-up that it's still quite pulpy, but remarkably together already. As Immi can pick it up here and flop it over onto this bed to transfer it off of the grid that it's been made on. But you see it's stuck to it. It doesn't fall off. And here you have to put the pressure on to squeeze some of the water out and press it down and basically flatten the paper out. And as you pick it up, it leaves the paper behind.
Right, we start on Monday, 2 to 10.
I love it because on each side you have different bits you can see, you know?
Here you can see the texture of that grid that the paper is made on.
And then you want to take the board.
And behind you can see there's a press. And that's where the paper goes to. It's on these thick sort of cotton sheets. And they all get put onto there and eventually they get crushed down.
Okay, here goes.
So now it's my turn to make some paper.
Perfect, yeah. And then you just want to shake, yeah, lovely.
Wire, trainer, dress, twigs. Because that all
Yeah.
lit it up, didn't it, when it went? Yep.
How many did you do that? Just a regular blender. So you're kind of trying to get this with your right hand.
So,
Right hand on top.
right hand on the top.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right here.
And then I throw it in here. And this way. Yep. That way. And then how quickly do I go down?
Steadily.
Down.
And then you just want to press. And then put it up the other side.
There we have it.
Very good.
It is obligatory once you've made this paper. You've just got to look at it and see which bits you can see in it. You just can't help it. I can't help it. And just like we do, I take the paper over and put it into the press so that eventually that can all be squeezed down to squeeze out some of the paper and create a dry paper.
We made it. We finally got there. So this is the process of squashing the paper down. Heave-ho. Okay, now the moment of truth.
Full of goodness. So many bits in that one. Ah. Yeah, that's my one.
We have it. After our 2 years, we've finally got our paper. We've both made a piece of it, and Jim and Sarah are carrying on making it bit by bit. We've got a lot of sheets to make, so they're still there, and they're going to be there for a couple of days, pulling out a sheet after sheet after sheet of this stuff, and they're doing an amazing job. So that's a quick resume of the paper making process. I really look forward to you receiving your paper in this, and I hope you look forward to getting it too. So until next time, cheers.